Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Amber City. I missed you. Did you miss me? Of course you missed me. Now, I have to start off by apologizing. If you can't tell, I went ahead and did a few things without y'all. And for that, I have to apologize, because they're, like, decently interesting things. Uh, but I also really thought that they were going to get in the way of the things that I actually wanted to do today. And so, while I quickly gather up some things that I want to show y'all, I will tell y'all about the things that we did. So, while y'all were gone, I found our ender portal, I killed the dragon, I got an elytra, I found a trial chamber, got some of that working. I built a creeper farm, as you can hear. Just a simple one, nothing too big. But specifically, I went ahead and built this because we have a use for all this gunpowder now. A very important reason that we need all of it. Specifically, not just for the elytra, but for another thing that you saw at the beginning. And while we're down here, we're going to need to grab some sand as well. And we're going to have to make some TNT. Just as much as we can make. Because we have to do my least favorite thing in Minecraft. And I have learned my lesson with this. Specifically with this build, I have learned that out of all of the light blocks in Minecraft, there is only one that is semi-miserable to farm. And it is these down here. It is these. Ow, hey! But it's these right here, shroomlights. They are so annoying to farm, and if I can help it, I'm going to hope that I never have to build en masse with them again. Because, to build with them en masse, you have to get nylium, build all of these different things, and farm all these trees, and on top of that, they don't drop saplings, so you have to kind of create a surplus of that. But, in doing so, to really start making this process become truly efficient, I wanted to make a tree farm and get some use out of these buildings. I want to make these facades not so facaded. So what I'm doing here is this is a tree farm concept and builds made by Ethos Lab that I have modified for our needs. It's not too different than the original, but I did change a few things, like the height and the timings a little bit for the actual things that we're going to need it for. I'm not going to get too in-depth about it because it is just a really long timer. The simplicity of it is that there's not much to it. It really is quite a simple farm. It's not too complicated. It's really easy to use. You just put 4 of the crimson fungus right here. You bone meal them into trees. You go up this water spout right here. Come down the middle. Mine down the middle. You land right here after you finish mining in this pressure plate. Pushes you up. Whenever I walk through that, it starts the process. Now drop down, down. Oh no. Oh no. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. It works. It works. And that's all I wanted it to do, is just work. So, I did find out a few things wrong with this design. Specifically, netherrack is not very blast-proof at all, it seems. And so, whenever I am doing this design, I constantly have to replace the nylon that we have right here. The other thing I've noticed is that whenever it comes down, the first explosion breaks the base of the tree trunks. The second explosion comes down about here, and it breaks the next line of tree trunks, but it also breaks this line of netherrack, and it breaks the things that fall onto these blocks, which is not ideal, which means we're not maximizing our efforts, but I will say it is insanely faster than me manually growing the trees, breaking them down, growing the trees, breaking them down, growing the trees, and breaking them down. It is much, much faster. And I will take that trade-off any time of the day. And I figured out what a problem was with the design. I had a few repeaters that weren't quite set to the right timers, and I forgot an entire hopper clock that makes sure that this system, specifically, that piston right there, stays open. Because it's supposed to be a cascading effect. This is supposed to stay open, and then this one's supposed to drop. Then this is supposed to stay open as this one drops, then that one, then that one, and that one. And I forgot to add the hopper clock that keeps the strength of the signal long enough for the whole process to finish, and then it turns off. That was the thing that I forgot, and so it kept blowing up. I rebuilt this thing 4 times before I figured that out. 4 times! Oh my goodness. But I digress. It is time to get down to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing today. Because this right here is meant to only help us. And the creeper farm is only to help create this. And all those things are nice and lovely, and it gives purpose to our facade here. But it's time that we create the front of this building. And I have one other project in mind. You may have noticed that I have a little starter house down here. A lovely one that has served me quite well. It was kind of like the establishing shot for this build. It helped me kind of conceptualize what I was going for as a build. And you can see the inspirations in the city itself from this building. Specifically, these banners I want to use as the city banner themselves. But that's irrelevant for what we're doing right now. Specifically, the main thing that I want to take away from this is that this storage system has served me well until now. But now, I have bigger things I need to do. I have bigger fish I need to fry. It is served its purpose quite well. But it's time for something bigger. And I think it's time we make a storage. So covering this up shouldn't be too big of an issue. It really should not be too hard, because I actually already have the basis for the general look of what the building's going to feel like right here. We're going to take this general design and we're going to slant it down into the rest of the city. Like how we have right there. And then we're going to come across like this. And then I think we're going to stop right here. So a nice wide building that we can use as a front for a home. I'm thinking that we use similar blocks to this house right here, with the gray on the bottom and the white at the top. But I get to use the new additions, a recent addition actually, into the game, with these. Ooh, ooh. These pale stripped oak logs. They are quite nice. They have a very pretty white to them that I think will serve me well and what my goal is. Because I really do like it up here to have that like only stone structure. But down here, where it's kind of meant to be an entrance, I want to have some softer tones and maybe even weave in the forms of fences into the actual structure of the home itself. And we're going to get started on that. Now I need to work in the pale oak wood into the structure. Not exactly quite sure how we're going to get that to look, but mixing in some of the variants of the wood and potentially calcite and diorite, we may be able to achieve the effect that I'm going for. All right, so my thought process is that I want to make kind of a library feeling store, either like a library or a general store or something that would kind of be on this corner right here, something that would be important enough to people that they would want to stop and be here, if that makes sense. Like, I want the importance of the building to be understood without having to make it too unreasonable of a concept. We're gonna first start by figuring out the dimensions. I think the dimensions I want are 13 by 13. That is 12, but we can expand this out to 13. And then we can do 13, 5, 6, 7, 13 by 13. I think that's like plenty big. Specifically for the thing that I want to do with it. I'm not sure if I want to have windows actually looking into it. This is something that I have been kind of going back and forth on, is I like this feeling that like there are shutters over the windows and that people can open them if they wanted to, or curtains over the windows. But I think for specifically this building in particular, I want the windows quote-unquote open so that you can see kind of what the building's supposed to be. You're not really confused about its purpose. It's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be technically serving an alternative purpose. It's going to be my storage. But generally, I think this building being perfectly square. That. Ooh. Yep, like that. 13 by 13, that leaves me an 11-foot floor space to work with. 11 by 11. And then I can maybe... I'm trying to decide, because I like the feeling of this building being contained to this corner. But I'm not sure if this space is enough for the kind of storage that I want to host. So I'm going to kind of play around with chest orientation, and I'm not going to get super obsessive with the facade until after I've decided that I have enough room to work with. But after we do that, then we can absolutely get to making this building feel part of the city. So I think something like this will be plenty of storage for me to work with. It's kind of just an expansion of the one I had downstairs with room for improvement, I think. I'll do the math so you don't have to. It's 9 by 3 and then another 9 by 3. Or if you really want to think about it, it's 18 by 3. And so that is 18, 16. That's not how math works. It's not 18 by 16. It is 18 by 3, and that would be 1836, 54. It's 54 chests. 54 chests, all double chests, all able to be used for storage. And I think this should hold me over, but more importantly, it'll make sure that whenever I am having to work on projects and getting things together, it would all be in the city itself, and I won't have to leave, which will... I forgot to wax it. But that's irrelevant. It will really give me some focus that I think is very much going to help me speed up the process. And it's time, I think, we get started on the building itself. And she's done. Braxton's. Wait for it. Bookstore. Yes. A little place for me to keep all of my stuff. Now I don't have to go up and down and up and down. It's all in one place. It's all right here in the city itself. And so I can finally get to work. I can finally stay up here and pour all my time into everything that I need to do. And it's all organized. It's all moved up from the house downstairs. And this just only needs one final touch. I need to wax those copper tiles. So let's go down just one more time. And boop. Right here. To grab ourselves some honeycomb. Eesh. To put our seal of approval on the house. And we're done. That roof will be green forever. Unless I missed one. But in that case, I just won't ever look up there again. And I'll never know. But thankfully, now that we have... Goodness. Now that we have all of our chests moved out, all of our... Oof! Goodness. Now that we have all of our chests moved out, all of our shulkers put away, all of our projects are now nice and tidy. We have a beautiful little bookstore to keep everything in a row. Our beautiful little ducks in a row. I'm just so happy to finally be able to just stick up here. I'm done with the starter house. It'll have its purposes because there are still some farms and my nether portal is down there. But for the most part, I really want to get to the meat and the bones. The meat and the bones. I don't want to get to the bones. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this build. Because we have established buildings and color palettes and themes that I really like. But now I want to make it feel like a city. I think the thing that we're ready for is actually making rows of buildings. And I think that'll be really cool. Well, he did it. He survived. Our little Crispy made it back home. Hey, little buddy. Hello. And just like Crispy, we did it. We made some wonderful progress. Considering that the first episode, we only really got this tunnel done. And in the second episode, we only got these two facades up. We've really started to make some great pace as we've finished out this entire building. We got this entire second building done, and we've really established kind of the size of our city. And I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with all of that. And with that being said, I think that's going to be it for today. I'm so glad that y'all could come along with me and join me in the Amber City. I can't wait to see y'all next time. Bye-bye.